If you long to spend more time with the Lord, but your schedule is just crazy busy, today's Front Porch Friday is for you. I'm going to give you 4 quiet time tips for super busy women just like you. And this is a response to a question that was asked a few weeks ago here on Front Porch Friday blog. And this was from Cherie. And Cherie, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. But she left this question. And she said this: I work outside the home. My days start at 4 a.m. I get home between 7 and 8:30 p.m., eat dinner with my husband, sleep till 4, and I do it all over again. That is a crazy busy schedule. She said, I talk to God in my private commute, but I want to have more time with God. And then she asked the question, Laurie, if this were you, when would you have your private time with the Lord? And the last thing she said was, it may seem easy, but this is overwhelming to me. Cherie, it is overwhelming, isn't it? And I agree with you. Listen, there are lots and lots of you who can relate to Cherie. Maybe you've got lots of little kids and your day is just full, and your nights you're up and down, maybe with nursing a baby, whatever. Maybe you're a full-time student and a full-time employee, and you barely have time to have quiet time, and you long to spend more time with God, just like Cherie does. Well, today I'm going to give you 4 tips for super busy women so that you can find time in your crazy busy schedule to have a quiet time. But before I do that, I have to recommend something to you, and it's a free resource. If you have not already downloaded our resource, Guilt-Free Quiet Times, it's written by Emily Ryan on our staff at Priority. Honey, you need this. It will liberate you, and it will lift a lot of the guilt off your shoulders about quiet time. In this book, Emily exposes the top 10 myths that about your quiet time with God. Let me just read the first 5 because I think it really does relate to those of you who are just crazy busy and you're longing for more time with God. Myth number 1 is that your quiet time must be quiet. That's a myth, girls. It doesn't have to be quiet. You can have a quiet time even with kids, even in your home. Myth number 2, your quiet time must be 30 minutes long. That's a myth. Be liberated from that myth. Number 3, you must not use technology during your quiet time. Another myth exposed. Myth number 4, and this is really, I think, a huge one. I know it was for me at one time. You must have your quiet time early in the morning. Honey, I'm not a morning person. I get up early sometimes, and I just, it takes me a while, and a coffee and a little time just to kind of get my brain going. And so I understand those of you who just in the mornings, it's just not a good time for you. And then the 5th one is you must have your quiet time every single day. If you want to count for God, you better have it every day. Honey, that is legalism. In fact, there's no 11th commandment that says thou must have a quiet time 7 times a day. Liberate yourself. Get this download, subscribe to the blog, and you can be set free. And there are 5 other myths that I didn't even cover. So now let me give you 4 quiet time tips for super busy women like you, and especially like you, Cherie. The first thing that I would begin to cultivate if I were you is when the alarm goes off, pray then. Short little quick prayer, okay, just connect with God. Something like that I learned from a friend of mine, Edwina Patterson. She leads a ministry called Redeeming the Time, and she taught me this little 7-word prayer. She said, this is what I say every morning when my alarm goes off. She said, I say this: oh Lord, I give myself to you. Oh Lord, I give myself to you. Just connecting with God. Lord, I give myself to you today. Okay? A quick prayer, just saying. Now, Cherie, those of you who get up really early and have to run through the day and plan a quiet time later, then I might add another sentence or 2 on there. Say, Lord, I long to spend time with you. Show me today the place and the time where I can draw aside and just have time with you. Ask Him, and I promise you, He's going to show you. He's going to answer that prayer because He wants to spend more time with you, more than even you want to spend time with Him. Tip number 2. Take maybe perhaps your quiet time, spend it during your lunch hour, okay? During your lunch hour. Stay at your desk, or maybe if there's a park nearby, or there's maybe even going to go out to your car if it's a safe parking lot or something like that. Or maybe there's a room in your office where it's a sort of a storage room or something where no one would bother you. Carve out time even during your lunchtime. When I used to work at an advertising agency years and years ago, that's what I did. I would stay at my desk. Everybody around me went out for lunch most of the time. And about about 2 or 3 days a week, I had my quiet time at my desk. I had a little Bible there with me. I had quiet, nobody was there, and I would spend a few minutes with the Lord as I just ate my lunch and just enjoyed that quiet. So maybe lunchtime is good. Lunchtime was also good for me when I was a young mom and I was up all night with kids and things. I would put my 2 kids down at lunchtime for their naps, whether they wanted to sleep or not, okay? And I would have my quiet time while they were in their bedrooms taking a nap or resting or whatever. That was sacred time for me. Lunchtime was a great quiet time for me. So maybe that'll work for you too. Tip number 3, bedtime. I would just say one of the sweetest things you can do at night is just pray and praise the Lord as you just fall off to sleep. You know, I don't know that there's any better way to fall asleep than drifting off just really in prayer. Just say, good night, God. Good night, God. I love you, Lord. I praise you, God. Give me a good night's rest. Oh, Father, let me find time. Father, show me when tomorrow you and I can spend more time together. Just a quick prayer as you go to bed, as you kind of sign off for the night. And then, number 4, weekends. I would say, I know weekends are catch-up time. They're grocery shopping. They're preparing for the week ahead. They're laundry. They're house cleaning. They're all kinds of things. They're tending to all those other areas in your life that you don't have time to during the other 5 days of the week. And of course, then there's church and all the activities there. So I know weekends are not just like all open for you. But I would say this. I'd get my calendar and I would say at least once or twice a month. Maybe you can carve out just 30 minutes. Or maybe even an hour just to say, I'm going to take a personal retreat with God this Sunday at such and such a time. Weekends are a great time where you can spend perhaps extended time with the Lord. And so that's my 4th tip for you. Look at your calendar. Schedule a personal retreat with the Lord some weekend, maybe one weekend a month or something like that. That will be something that I don't think you'll ever regret, that you'll find time will just fly, and that you'll say, I'm going to schedule 15 or 20 minutes. It may just turn into way more than that. It'll be an oasis for you at the end of your week to prepare you for the Monday that is certainly coming. Cherie, thanks so much again for your comment and for your honesty and for your question. And I just would love to hear from the rest of you. If you've got other tips for crazy busy women, tips for how they can have a quiet time and carve that out, please leave a comment. Let me hear from you. Thanks so much for sitting here with me on Front Porch Friday. I'll see you next week right here again. I love y'all. I'm praying for you, and I'm especially praying for you today, Cherie. Thanks. See y'all next week. Bye-bye.